Hey everyone, Reflected here, and I have some great news. My new Spitfire IX campaign, Beware Beware, is coming with the next open beta update. So I thought I'd show you what kind of documentation and briefings are coming with the missions and how to interpret all the information that's on them. If you buy the campaign, I recommend you navigate to Mods, Campaigns, Beware Beware /doc folder and read the campaign introduction PDF. It has all the information you need to get the most out of this historical campaign. On top of this, each sortie has its own separate PDF. I highly recommend you study them before taking off. They begin with the briefing that you'll also hear as a voiceover when you start the mission. It's followed by a map that would have been on the wall in the briefing room with a red thread connecting pins to demonstrate the route of the mission of the day. Those pink circles mark heavy flag areas. Enter them with caution. But there's plenty of light flag in between those two, so try not to fly below 5,000 or even 10,000 feet and definitely not straight and level. These pictures are also available in-game in the briefing section and on your kneeboard. Then you have your chalkboard with the most important info. The date, the mission code and number. This one is Circus 221 to Multi, so a bomber escort. For reference, check my RAF lingo tutorial. SE stands for Start Engines, so at 14:27 hours. TO is the takeoff time of the leader. Do not taxi before this. SC is when the formation stops circling over the airfield and sets course toward the first waypoint of the sortie. You have a little weather report. In this one you'll barely see any clouds, ceiling and visibility unlimited. You have the wind direction and speed and the QNH, so the altimeter setting you need to set in the pressure window. At the bottom you'll see the radio channelization. Button A is Zona, controlling you over England. B is not in use. You'll be able to listen to the BBC Home Service here. Just make sure you keep your finger out and keep checking your 6. Button C is Grass Seed, controlling you over enemy territory. And D is Air Sea Rescue. Just like in real life, these missions count as success if you don't die or get captured, so you finish over friendly territory. Landed, crash landed, on a parachute, any way will do, just make sure you're alive. In several missions, you may not even fire your guns, and that is okay. The mission will still count as complete if you make it back alive. If you can't make it back across the channel, you can switch to channel D on your radio, call Air Sea Rescue using the F10 radio menu. If, and only if, you get a reply from them, then you may finish the mission without making back to England, provided you're still alive. On the right hand side, you'll see a diagram of the airfield and your parking position, as well as an arrow for the wind direction. Below that, a few of your personal items to increase immersion. Your Irvin sheepskin jacket, Mae West, gauntlets, goggles, a picture of your sweetheart, and so on. The next briefing picture is the order of the battle so that you know what your position is. This show will be led by 611 Squadron, call sign Gimlet, led by Wing Commander Eric Thomas, followed by 340, call sign Turban, led by Commandant Dupérier. You'll be number 4 in yellow flight, so on the left of the wing co, but on the right of your flight. Your job will be to cover yellow 3. Then you'll find your main and only navigation aid, a map on your kneeboard. It has circles marking the range from begin and radials marking the course back home. You won't find a single icon on the F10 map, no cheating. So if you get lost, you need to do exactly like RAF pilots did in World War II. Use your Mark I eyeballs to look outside the cockpit and determine where you are. It shouldn't be too hard. Look for an enemy base, a large city, an estuary, anything that's easy to identify. Find it on the map. Let's say if you see Calais below, you know the course back home is 300 magnetic. I hope you know what magnetic means and you set your direction indicator properly based on the compass behind your stick. These missions are not very complicated, but I collected every piece of advice to help you succeed under instructions. make sure you read them. Last but not least, you'll find an excerpt of the records of 611 Squadron about this particular mission. Read it after you land so you can compare your experience with what happened in real life 80 years ago. Keep in mind that this was not my sole source. I dug up records of other squadrons in the air that day, as well as personal combat reports of pilots who flew that day. Sometimes the information was contradictory or incomplete, and it took a lot of research to find every piece of the jigsaw. Talking about combat reports, in the documentation folder, you'll find a blank Form F, so a combat report form that was used by the RAF in World War II. After you land, you can fill it out like real pilots did back then. See what you remember about the action. In addition, the campaign comes with a period-correct PDF map of the area, Spitfire IX checklists, a copy of the pilot's notes, and your best friend, Milan's 10 Rules of Air Fighting. Read it first thing in the morning and last thing before going to bed. Your virtual life will depend on it. I hope you're looking forward to the release of this campaign as much as I do. I put a lot of effort into it to make it the most realistic World War II campaign I could possibly make in DCS. It will not be easy, but it will be the most eye-opening history lesson you've ever had. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. See ya!